Chris, good to see you again.
Hi.
Welcome back to Arizona.
Thank you.
I saw you at the Smithsonian last night, and your feelings about Superman being honored with an exhibit at the Smithsonian. You pleased, surprised?
I'm very pleased and a little surprised because it really legitimizes Superman as mainstream American culture.
Yeah.
I think there's a tendency to sort of look down on comic books as you know, going along with Mars bars as something that's really not very good for you, and but he really is a piece of American folklore, and to have him respected as such is very gratifying.
And right across the exhibit is a exhibit of baseball memorabilia, the Yankees and that sort of thing, and that's American culture too. It's part of the mainstream, as you said, and it's a good reason for it. Yeah. A lot of people had read that Superman 3 was going to be your last one, and some people were surprised that when it was announced that there would be a Superman 4. Could you tell our viewers a little bit why you decided to do Superman 4?
I think, simply put, it was a combination of a couple of years going by, a changing mood, a good idea came along, and the price was right. Those three things together. But I knew after part 3 that I wouldn't come back unless I really felt motivated, that there was a good reason to make the film, other than just making bucks for the studio.
So you did have some input into the script with this one?
A lot. I didn't have any input to how it was shot. I mean, that's not my department.
Yeah, not the production.
I can't control the production, but I had a great deal to do with the script. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, because this interview will be seen before the film is released, and we came out on the interview with a little piece from the Smithsonian last night, so we're getting in the mood for Superman 4. How does it begin?
The movie, how
does, let's pick up Superman 4 from the beginning. I want you to tell the story about how it's seen through the eyes of
oh, okay. Well, I mean, not scene by scene, but it gets going really when a 12-year-old in a social studies class are watching televised coverage of a Russian-American summit meeting, and it's not going anywhere. They're talking about arms reduction, but nothing is happening. And the teacher turns to the class and says, well, what do you think should be done about the arms race? And there's a kid who's sort of doodling in the back of the class, and he's just been drawing a picture of Superman because he's daydreaming. And he suddenly says, well, what about Superman? What's he doing? Why doesn't he get rid of all the nuclear weapons? Because to his mind, the kid's thinking, well, all these adults say they don't want nuclear weapons, and if they're not doing anything about it, why not ask Superman? Yeah. So he writes a letter to Superman, care of the Daily Planet. Superman gets the letter through Lois Lane, through Clark Kent, and reads it, and now he's got a dilemma because he goes away and he thinks about this and remembers that his instructions are, you will not interfere with the destiny of humans. You will not interfere at all. And so he goes away to the Fortress of Solitude, and he thinks about that, and he finally decides, well, wait a minute, the Earth is my home. I belong here, and I've got to do something more than just catch helicopters and get cats out of trees. So he comes back and he goes to the United Nations, and he makes a speech in which he says, for years I've lived among you as a visitor, I've admired your cultures, etc., but from now on I am a citizen of this Earth, and I can't watch as we blindly go towards nuclear destruction. I am going to rid the world of nuclear weapons. And the movie takes off from there as he starts to destroy all the nuclear weapons on the Earth, but Gene Hackman, as Lex Luthor, has come up with a plan to stop all that so he can profit from it.
Is it an anti-nuclear message film?
Perhaps. I think what it really is saying is summed up in a single line of Superman's. He says, I just wish you could all see the Earth the way that I see it. Yeah. Because when you really look at it, it's just one world. And that doesn't mean anything political. It just means the way you look at the world when you're out in space, it looks like a very beautiful marble floating in the nothingness, and it needs to be taken care of. And that if we were all to realize that we're living in a global village, we'd act like neighbors, and the world would be a better place.
Yeah. Good message, and good entertainment, too. Yeah. A lot of your fans and friends, I'm sure, said, Chris, don't do Superman. It's going to stereotype you. You'll always be Superman and nobody else. Just the opposite, isn't it? You're doing a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, I can't control. I mean, there may be people sitting out there who, when I do another part, think, well, Superman's playing X, or Superman was in Death Trap, or whatever. But that's really, not to be too rude about it, that's their problem, not mine. Because I think that if the audience has to be fair to the actor, too. I mean, the actor's job is to really be convincing in the part, but the audience has got to be fair and let them change.
Yeah,
you know,
and let you grow.
yeah, and let it happen. You can't hang on
Sure.
to it. And eventually they release everybody. They released Sean Connery. I mean, age also releases
Sure,
you too. You
sure.
physically change and they forget you.
Yeah.
But even so, I think the audience is pretty sophisticated now, and they know that it's not like it was in the 30s and 40s where everybody just stayed in one little pigeonhole. That actors really diversify now, and they look forward to the changes.
Yes, they do. They certainly do. And you've changed and developed, I think, as a fine actor.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really have. Stage is, well, you're so busy. You're switching channels. You're doing a movie now. That's why you got the little blonde hair.
Right.
And you're going to do a play.
And I start a play next Tuesday.
Yeah. A lot of dialogue to memorize. You're really keeping busy, aren't you?
That's the least of the problems. It's never. It's no. The problem is not learning the dialogue. It's what to do with it when you know it. You know, because you know, if you think about it in terms of actions, you know, you go down the street or you do whatever you're doing, and just what to say comes naturally. You have to. You find the action, and the words come with it. And usually, if an actor can't remember his lines, it's because he doesn't know what the underlying action is that makes you have to say the line.
Yeah.
That's so. Just you're learning actions, not lines.
Yeah. Speaking of actions, your son Matthew enjoys his dad as a sword fighter. I understand more than Superman.
Well, yes. When you go
A
through
fencer.
yeah, he likes you know, whatever. He gets bored when it's you know if it's Henry James, it's a little dull for him. But if it's but he liked a play I did a couple years ago called The Royal Family, where in the second act I had a sword fight, and I won every night. And he says, "Don't you ever lose?" So that's a great thing about the theater, is that when you win, you win. You know, and it comes out the same way every time.
Well, I like what you're doing, and I like the fact that we're not seeing you in the jungles as Rambo types, and rather have you flying around as Superman. And thank you so much. And we're still waiting in Tucson for you to come in someday in a horse.
Okay.
You never know.
Right. Maybe keep looking out towards the east.
Right. Chris, thanks
Okay.
so much.
Sure.
Again.
All right.